So let's talk about the potential of game NFTs. Currently, most people are very skeptical of what NFTs can provide for games. And that is because currently in a game, you get your items in the game and whatever, and you can sell it within the in-game economy if it's an MMORPG, and that's basically it. What people seem to be forgetting, and I don't know why, is that we've already had a model of ownership of game pieces that you can then buy, sell, and trade. And that's Magic the Gathering, or any card game, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever. You purchase a pack, you open the pack, you get the cards, you look through the cards, and oh, wow, I got this one and it's super valuable. Now I can sell this one for like $30 or $100 or whatever the case may be. And but in the meantime, you can put that in a sleeve and play with it with your friends and enjoy the game. And then at the end of the lifespan of that game for you, you can go, I'm no longer interested in playing this game, I'm going to sell my cards, and you've may not only recoup your losses, but actually gain a significant amount of funds. And I don't know why people keep overlooking that, but you know, it already exists. So let's look at digital ownership in a singular game. Within a singular game, let's say World of Warcraft, for example, you collect all this stuff, and then at the end of your experience of World of Warcraft, maybe you can get away with selling your account, but I don't even think that's possible these days. But let's say that you could, like you could with EverQuest in the past. You would sell your account for like $1,000, $1,500, depending upon everything you've accumulated over the time that you've played, and you'd recoup your loss. With NFTs, the potential is there at the end of the lifespan of the game for you to sell your character, sell your items, and so forth to another player, and get a stable coin or whatever in return, which you can then turn into money. I don't see anything wrong with that. Even within a singular game, NFTs make sense to me. But I've seen a lot of pushback against that regardless. But now let's take it a step forward. What about digital ownership on a game platform? Let's say that Ubisoft, who seems to be very keen on NFTs for some reason, let's say that across all of their games, they have NFTs. And these NFTs are then supported by Ubisoft, and they are transferable across all their different games. So you get a bunch of stuff in Assassin's Creed, and then you go into Watch Dogs, and you've got some, not necessarily one-to-one, but some sort of representation of whatever that was in the other game now in this game. It could be art pieces on a wall to decorate your room, I don't know. However they want to do it. What's wrong with that? Nothing, really. I think the major problem that most people have with the way that Ubisoft is currently doing NFTs is that they are selling the NFTs rather than giving the NFTs for playing. If it were play to earn, I don't think people would be as upset, but no one is doing play to earn with NFTs yet. And the way to do that is then for the company to take a percentage of the transaction at the end. So you let people accumulate whatever they're going to accumulate while they play your game, and then at the end you take a percentage of transactions when they sell them to other players. That's how it should be done, but they're not doing that yet. But okay, so that's one game platform. So Ubisoft does it, EA does it, Microsoft does it. Now you've got things transferable within their game worlds, or at least a few of them at first, and then maybe it expands into others. So let's say in Microsoft, you can go from Minecraft to, well, World of Warcraft now, and have some items have one-to-one ratios. Interesting. And now, that's not to say that that's free. It's not. It's going to take a designer like me looking at all these items and lists and seeing what's transferable, how they should function in the new game, and so forth, and then trying to support it across all these different games. It's difficult. It's not an easy task to solve, but it is solvable, it's doable, and I think that it provides so much value for players and would keep players within that game platform and make it easy to transition to new games that are, you know, MMORPG-like in general, that it's worth doing. And that's sort of the promise that I've tried to be looking forward to when I approach game design for these games. But then let's say that it expands further. Let's say that Ubisoft, EA, and Microsoft get into a cooperation. Let's throw Sony in there too. Now you have certain things that transfer across game platforms. You get something in Assassin's Creed that can work in WoW, and then also can work in what's an EA game? Call of Duty, let's say. It's even more difficult to do because it requires cooperation between companies, but whichever NFTs they choose to do that with has infinitely more utility because it can go between these games. So if it's super valuable over in this game, you might go play game A, World of Warcraft, to get item X, which is super powerful in Call of Duty. It's interesting. It's really unique and interesting. And the NFT designers who handle those sorts of itemizations across platforms, they've got their work cut out for them. But again, it's doable. I can see the spreadsheets already in my head. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it could be done. And lastly, let's talk about the metaverse. The metaverse as a concept is simply another version of the internet wherein there is a world that you inhabit. And there is no corporation that can own the metaverse. No corporation should own the metaverse, and no corporation should be named metaverse. That is ridiculous. The metaverse has to be something that is platform agnostic, effectively. It has to be similar to the internet, the web, where anyone basically can create web pages and whatnot on whatever platforms they want. And people can go to those web pages and see things and do things there. It's just that the metaverse will be a 3D incarnation of that, or some form of in-game playable thing that connects you to all these different universes. If you play something like Core, for example, they're sort of mimicking what a metaverse might be like, where there's a central hub and then you can go to all these different games that players have made, and they are effectively different universes within the metaverse that they've created. Now, again, I have to say that no individual can own a metaverse, but within, let's say that once this metaverse is created, there can be a unification of blockchain and NFTs and their meaning within that metaverse. And that means that avatars and things that you put on your avatars and things that you get from games can be supported by those games, those platforms, those whatevers, and show in the metaverse in some universal fashion. It's totally a mess. It's even a mess in my head right now because I don't know how to wrap my brain around the sheer volume of things that can occur in this situation. But again, I think it's doable. And once, similar to, like, let's say HTML, once we've all agreed on certain things, it becomes easier to standardize how the metaverse would work. But it can't be controlled by a corporation. We just need universal standards for it. Maybe it needs to be government determined, or maybe a body of people can be formed from all of the gaming controllers. Like, let's say that Microsoft, Sony, and Facebook, and whoever else, they all get together and they sort of determine the dimensions of what a metaverse should be, and then we standardize sizes for things, and then we allow people to create things within those size standards. So a sword can be X height max and so forth, and within those dimensions then all things can be created and fit within the metaverse. We need standards, basically, in order for this idea of a universal metaverse to work. And we're not there yet. I don't think we're even close, and getting people to agree on anything is extremely difficult. But there is hope, as long as the metaverse is not controlled by any individual entity. It cannot be controlled by any individual entity, or it is not a metaverse. It is a Facebook-verse. And we should all shun them and drop their stock into the ocean, because screw that.